glimpse of the conversation. Samir Sharma.
As usual.
No, I couldn't
Achha.
hear him. I don't know.
Acha, you were in our panel, but Vinayak spoke very well before that.
So what did Vinayak say? He always speaks well.
He said, where is, how do we know how much money has been spent in the last 3 years? Earlier we had these 5 planning commissions. So
Gross
we
capital
used to
formation
know
and infrastructure.
How much
GCFI
that
has
56,
been talking
57
about for a long
lakh
time.
crores.
Yes, I know.
So-
He's very clear. I heard him. He's pretty good, and he speaks with, without being fearful of anything. He
Yeah,
talks
yeah, yeah. He
directly
talks
to the
very,
point.
very-
GCFI.
Uh,
And then that was
So
one.
he's got the, he said, I have, few questions. One is how much you are planning to spend, how much you have spent, one. And how do we know where we are? Are we spending less than the earlier 5 years? Or even if you start your 5 years from this year when the government has come, fine, but tell us the statistics. And the second point was, if you expect the 49% to come from private sector,
My God, that's an old story. Huh?
then
Hmm.
how PPP is in the on the lowest ebb. So how do you do it?
TTTs.
No, you are cynical.
No, I'm not cynical. I'm realistic about it. See, incidentally, I keep saying that PPPs are good in theory,
That is a failure model.
but in practice they have become TTTs. TTTs stand for Taxpayer to Tycoon
So
Transfer.
had a Hardway discussion there. I'm expecting Hardway to join. Table ना तो इधर ही हो रहा है.
अच्छा इधर ही हो रहा
There's
है.
no audience. Good.
There's no audience.
Oh.
Only the stakeholders talking.
Okay, good fun.
Wonderful. Thank you, Neetu.
So let Hardway.
Strangest one
I
that I have
would say
seen.
5 minutes
Yeah.
होते हैं Hardway के लिए.
Actually, I was asking in the morning, what's the difference between
So Taxpayer to Tycoon Transfer.
If you are
They're going to
able to
recapitalize the
do a
banks.
subject.
So it's a TTT.
So if this is specified.
And he's an honorable exception, but most PPP projects, Vinayak and I have had this conversation earlier. And that was
what
the.
do we do? If you want private participation, you need to find better models.
So
which
the
do not
model-
allow that these
The
things
model
to
is a
happen.
reverse BOT. No? The model is a reverse BOT. That if I'm a contractor, don't force me to become a developer.
No, this is very true. I fully agree with you. Because
So if
mindset
I'm a
are
veg,
entirely
don't force me
different.
to have non-veg.
Yeah, it's entirely different.
Yeah,
The
what is
contractor
certainly
mindset
not
and the
good.
developer mindset are very different.
Absolutely, I agree,
So-
100%.
And I mean,
Hello, Mr. Harvey. I'm Harsh Srivastava. Right?
thank you.
Hi.
I'm the new kid of the block, Shailesh.
Srinivas Shai.
Silva. This is the company.
Bhartiya.
That's right. Okay.
Good. Efficient.
Yeah, I'm already. Yeah.
So this is in Malaysia, right?
In Singapore.
In Singapore. I see. Settling.
We are Singapore and Malaysia.
Right.
So I have two cards. One it's the same, which is Red Western.
Right. So what is your point of view on what?
I feel it's doable very quickly. There's no way other than private sector can do it, basically. At least for big cities. For small towns, it is still manageable. And it's not as expensive as we envisage. It's a question of privatizing. So next year, the next term when the Prime Minister talks about universal access to water, like the way he's talking about universal access to toilets, then the whole system will jump and start thinking. It's not a huge investment that we are.
Yeah, investment wise.
Say like Hyderabad spending 1,000 crore or even 2,000 crore is no big deal.
True.
Or even for Bangalore. That's true. I mean,
Or Nagpur.
take average 1400, 14,000 per connection.
Yeah, that is good
I mean,
enough.
just no big analysis needed. 13,000 to 14,000 per connection.
Correct. That HPC they calculated it and
And we all computed historically, looking at all the costs.
the question is the implementation. Like unlike the road projects and that, you do it in 2 years, 24 months, 100
that
kilometers.
might not
No,
be
it's
possible.
exactly that's
Here-
the model we need to go.
Yeah, here the complexities of going in each household and putting a meter,
Of course.
connecting it, and the pace at which you can do it, considering the social aspects. Probably, and we need to, if we get that right once, twice, thrice,
Yeah,
then
exactly.
it will just fly. But
Those are operational issues,
hmm.
and that requires certain amount of smart administration and smart political.
Yeah.
Political will is a must. Is a must. Without
The
that,
whole world has done it. Why can't we do it?
So perhaps the closest.
You're right. But the whole world
Democracies have done it. Why
The
can't
whole world has ensured primary education compulsory. We haven't done
They're
it.
not-
Yeah, of course.
Malaysia did it in 1965.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's not a difficult thing.
So coming to Harsh's example, is there any similarity between, let's say, the domestic water sector and the domestic power sector? Because both you have to go into the individual home.
No, there is a difference.
Huh.
There is huge difference.
And it's engineering more complicated, and you will explain this, yes.
Yeah. You see, water is entirely different than power.
Hmm.
First thing is that if you don't get water, you have a
Correct.
serious issue, a
That's
political
true.
issue, a social
basic.
issue at hand.
True.
Many of people don't get power any which way for
Yeah.
or they
And
get
people
for
are
only
living
few
without
hours.
power. That's right.
So and then
So that's one difference.
there is also the fundamental block of paying for water and electricity. They are two different things.
So you can't
Electricity-
disconnect water if they don't pay, but you can disconnect power.
You cannot. It's a basic right
Fair point.
to get this lifeline water.
Right. Right.
He has to.
So that's the second. And
Third is the engineering challenge. Electricity is a single wire. Water is two pipes.
correct.
Fresh water in, wastewater out.
Fair point.
So two pipes with two different pumping, two different end use, where the fresh water coming in has a whole sequence and engineering to bring that fresh water, and there's another engineering and maintenance and challenges of taking the wastewater and the
Yeah, we thought
storage.
wastewater we haven't even thought about it.
Yes, and
Yes, still
what you do with it. So,
That's
so
right.
so it's far more engineeringly complicated than stringing a wire.
All right.
The back end, the generation of electricity has complications, but so is the generation of ready-to-use water. It also has complications. It's coming from somewhere, it has to be piped up to some place, it has to be cleaned, it has to be processed. So
in
that's
India, at least, water is also dependent on the monsoons. Like you see this year in Marathwada, in Maharashtra.
Mm.
yes. आप तो वहीं के हैं.
The dams went dry, so there is no source of water.
Mm.
So you have all the pipelines and everything, but what do you pump?
Correct. So you can't manufacture water.
You cannot manufacture it.
And that's the point with electricity, the range of the tariffs and the range of usages are not too many. In water, multiple uses of water are so much more than electricity. Water is an input to power generation. So in Marathwada also the same thing happened. Years ago I heard the Maharashtra CM speak in the Planning Commission. He said, we are making a mistake. We have got the coal, we've got the coal block, we've got the allocation, we've got the power plant coming up in Marathwada. We don't have the water, because if we give the water to the power plant for the boilers, we won't be the farmers. So I'm stuck. So I don't know where to put the power plant. Other options do coast based, but coast based में the local farmer land नहीं मिलेगा. यहाँ तो फिर भी ज़मीन मिल गई, खाली पानी नहीं मिला. Coast में land नहीं मिलेगा. If I did nuclear तो कोई और मुझे तंग कर तो where will I put my power? He was talking the power concept.
No, but so what happens is, if you look at the data,
Yes.
most of our cities,
Ah.
at least urban water format, they do have water.
Yeah.
Most of us, they have over-invested in infrastructure. Of course, can't talk about some of the shocks that would come through droughts. And look at Delhi, I mean, they're completely wasting water.
That's
What
true.
a trend of.
Yes. I mean, look at Barcelona with they're operating a system with 100 liters per capita per day. Delhi and NDMC and even average is about 290, 300 LPC.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, I think it's at a macro
Oh,
level
more use
we are
case.
water stressed. But if you look at some of the big cities, we do have more than sufficient water. We can bring in right kind of governance and technologies.
It's a question of management
It's a
only.
question of management.
We are creating a stress which is not there. It's artificial.
So if it is just a question of management, what's stopping us?
Your investments,
It's,
you need to
investments
invest
to
money into it to
fix
set it
the
right.
so-called leaking bucket, as we call it.
But what is the percentage of wastewater or linkage that you have in a big city? Because when I was in Bangalore, they were talking about 60% linkage sometime from the big dam. It's close to Mysore, no?
See, dams and everything basically depend upon the rainfall.
Of course.
If there's no rainfall, a drought occur. So how does it work?
So it's all the more reason we need to fix the good quality infrastructure because of shortage of water.
One is it's a nature basically, but we cannot manufacture as been told. So how to get the water first of all, the source of water? So one is
You
intelligent.
just say that we don't have any issue because we have enough water.
You tell me a city where, except for Chennai and few others, where they have less than 140 liters per capita. Go and show me one city.
No, we are working out the per capita and that's fine, but all the people whether get it or not is different.
No, that's exactly is a management issue.
Yeah, it's a distribution is not proper.
At a availability level, at the entrance of the city, you do have water. The
Like
question
proper
is,
control.
it's a control and management, and effective distribution is a big issue,
That's a
which we try to solve it in the power sector.
See, total
And what you're
demand.
saying is the power sector is much easier to solve than the water sector.
Not actually, technically speaking, being a civil engineer, I can say it's water sector is much more simpler
Yeah.
in terms of hydraulics
Hmm.
Okay.
than
Because if water flows by itself, it
it's
doesn't.
it's nature. It's actually gravity which is taking. Of course, and also the engineering is not very dramatic. Only in the recent past we have made some improvements. And if you go to some of the earlier cities, even London, they are operating 24-hour supply without metering.
It's just
Only-
gravity.
There's no metering in London, which they all preaches about,
Really?
volumetric billing and tariffs and everything. Only, and that too in a private sector format, not
Yeah,
privatized
that's the only
format.
privatized
Not even
format.
PPPs.
Yeah.
The whole country is
Only
privatized. Only in the recent times they have started introducing metering system.
The Thames Valley water is completely private. It has nothing to do
Thames,
with
Seven
Ownership
Trents,
is-
all of them is 100% owned by
And it
private.
was always us,
During the time of Margaret Thatcher,
not before that.
not before that.
So we need a Maggie Thatcher, whose grave people can come and dig up
No, I think
20 years down the
that's-
line.
That's a risky format, but I think.
She is still hated. So that's a political risk.
And put all the infrastructure in private sector.
I mean, I've come across people of a certain age in the UK who hate Maggie Thatcher.
But how it works for Nagpur? I understand that the project is working well.
Yeah.
Can you say some
Both,
more about
uh,
it?
Both the parts, the distribution and the reuse. So on the distribution now that there are 3 years, so we can say it is stabilized. I will not say it is successful. It is yet to reach a long way, but 3.5 years, so it is fairly stable. The systems are in place. The improvements are visible now. After it takes time, it takes 2 to 3 years.
How
to-
many people are connected?
There we have 2.7 million people total.
It's a huge, almost whole city.
The whole city. It's a full city model.
And this is a distribution franchise
This is complete,
for some years. There's some
25 years.
25.
It's a
So it's like the electricity distribution franchising that they're also
Yeah,
doing.
Here,
It's slightly different as a model.
No. When we call franchise, it is like various models. Here it is it's a PPP in the principal and agent format because there are sovereign rights which cannot be delegated to private people. Like disconnection connection is a sovereign right. So it has to remain with the corporation, the elected body. So it's a 25 years concession in which we are from the supply, means the source, the treatment, the distribution, the customer service, billing, collections, and the replacement of the assets.
All
And
the cycle.
the whole cycle, complete.
Ishwar Aluwal did an article about you in the
Yeah.
Express sometime
Yeah,
back.
yeah. She was quite, she was supportive of this particular experiment. And
What is the PPP model?
PPP model is that 70% of the grant was from JNNURM, 30% was invested by us on
By
behalf of the corporation. So they formed a 100% owned company, corporation under them, and we have a contract with them. It's a 25 years contract. It's a 50-50 joint venture between us and Veolia Water.
Veolia Water.
Veolia Water.
And
It's-
O&M is completely with.
O&M is with us. We'll be replacing 300,000 meters in all the households, some 500 kilometer of large dia pipeline, 3,000 kilometer of small dia pipeline. So it's a process. So
How are you making money at this?
we are making money.
That I mean, after
And
all
it is
this,
for what I was asking, what is a PPP model? I understand that you create a GV with 100%, that is 70-30 share?
No,
No.
no.
70% has been
No.
has been paid by GNNURM
As a grant.
As a grant.
To us,
30% has been by Veolia on you.
yes.
And you create a GV between Veolia and you.
No, Veolia and we are 50-50. So this Orange City Water, which is the joint venture company of 50-50 between Veolia and Vishwaraj, we have a contract with Nagpur Municipal Corporation's body, NESL. So this contract gives them, they will give 70% of the grants to Orange City Water, which will spend the money, 100%, in having the defined scope, and bring it in 10 years time to 75%, 25% NRW. That is one
25%.
non-revenue water.
Non-revenue water.
Today it is 65%, so we have to bring it to 25%. And we get paid on the volume of water we bill and collect for. So we bill, collect and put it into the account of corporation. We get only paid some fees for that.
so your income is only a fee income.
Fee income. We are
So for
not,
the 30% cost investment that you have put in,
yeah.
you're only getting a fee income out of it.
We only get a fee. Tariffs are political thing, so they decide the tariff. For us, every cubic meter that we bill, collect and put it in
Collect
their
something.
account, of course, is what we get paid for. So there is a total alignment of interest between corporation and us, that the more we bill, the more water we save, they get more money, we get more money.
So what are you managed to sell and recover?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
But,
initially there was a challenge of the data. The credible data was not there about how many customers are getting billed and what type of money is coming in. So the bankers were really, not very comfortable. So they agreed to give us a minimum take or pay for the first 5 years.
Nagpur Municipal Corporation.
Nagpur Municipal
Just to
Corporation.
cover minimum your cost.
Minimum, yeah. So that supports it. Now we have crossed that minimum take or pay, but that really helped this project to, take off. Yeah.
And now you expect to win some money and to...
Yeah, we were never in red.
It's sustainable.
It's
model.
very much sustainable.
So despite having to cough up 30% upfront
Yes.
of the capital cost of renewal, your
Of course.
fee income is allowing you not just in the long run to be profitable, but hopefully to be profitable sooner rather than later.
Obviously, in all PPPs,
Yeah.
the first four or 5 years you don't
Right.
make money. But if you are not in red, I think it's good enough.
Yeah,
No,
as
but
long as cash flows are
this
good.
is a good question. How long has to be the PPP contract because I think the PPP model cannot be 3 years, there are no meaning.
No.
Okay,
25
maybe
years.
25
you
years.
said 25 years, but what is the minimum time of a PPP model? Which one you have to build the business model?
It is very simple, It is directly connected to the how much tariff that you can charge to people. If you want to bring this 25 years to 15 years, my fee of 8 rupees will go to 12 rupees.
Yeah, much more.
What
So
is,
if you are willing to pay more, if there is a willingness to pay more, you can reduce the quantity. You are basically spreading the costs over a longer period to keep the tariffs low.
And what is the ensured per
It's
capita?
in the interest. Oh, sorry. It's the interest of the citizen to
Exactly.
have a long-term contract.
Exactly.
That's what you are
It's
explaining.
Okay.
And the O&M is also addressed for that duration. So they,
Charge per-
it's not
What are
cost.
the
Project,
insured
project
per-
cost is about 350.
480 crores.
Yeah, of course.
what is
I
the insured per
remember.
capita?
Huh. Glaze did it, right?
Average per capita,
Yeah, per capita.
same what
No,
he said.
I
We
guess
are-
25, Selvi?
I mean, every individual will get that so much.
No, you see,
Okay.
if you
Of
calculate
course, I know,
how much we are
understand.
putting in the system and how
Huh.
many people are there,
That's
it
the
is,
more total it gives.
yeah, that is 280, 300, LPCD.
Okay.
Like what Dr. Chari said, it is same. We have,
But,
it's a 25 lakhs, 27 lakh
So-
city, we are putting
So
700
you have my
million
email,
liters
right? Marcia's email.
per day.
So,
Yeah,
do send me
it's
a
very interesting
email
project.
with
I was
your
following
latest
it with
coordinates
How much of-
Patrick
Take it from there.
Rousseau, who's one
Yeah.
of my friends.
Great, great.
Each time we met, he talked a little bit about
Yeah.
this project.
Yeah,
I'm
today is
based
not
out
there.
of
Last time we
Gurgaon.
were
Yeah,
together
we'll be with
talking.
him this evening. We have a dinner in French embassy.
So, learning from your lessons, if I was
Thanks.
hopefully Devendra Fadnavis from Nagpur will apply this very quickly to 10 other cities.
Mhm.
But if I was the CM of another state,
Mhm.
what would you advise that CM to do to ensure that this happens in her or his own state better than it has happened in Maharashtra? I mean, hopefully 3 years from now,
Yeah.
3 साल के बाद they should be able to do a better outcome in
Absolute-
Rajasthan or
absolute.
Bhopal or
Yeah,
Raipur or wherever. So what would be your
If we see, like
Nice.
the states are already trying different models. The
Mhm.
Karnataka,
Mhm.
they have taken a ADB loan and they have gone on the EPC plus O&M. They are giving that. We are doing 5 towns in Karnataka. We are doing Bidar, Basau Kalyan, and
North
Shahabad,
Karnataka
Yarki.
parts.
North Karnataka.
so are
there
you going to
it's
be the
a-
water king of India? It seems, actually.
Yeah, just it's beginning. It's a beginning.
G.
So it's a model where there is a EPC and 10 years or 7 years O&M. So that is also a good model. But the other model, Rajasthan is following. They have added sewage and water together.
Mhm.
I think that is again a much better model.
Oh, okay.
Because then you are addressing the whole issue comprehensively.
Makes sense, makes sense.
Like what you said, yeah,
We-
both the
we-
pipes.
We have to find a synergy between the two technology.
Yeah.
Because we can use the same canal, not the
Exactly.
same pipe, but the same.
Same canal, same time you can do that. Like
Then
in,
you can save a lot of money. It's,
yeah, in implementation
In
and
implementation.
in reuse. In Nagpur, we are doing a
Reuse also.
200 million liter per day of 100% privately funded STP. This is an PPP annuity model. Here there is no contribution from government.
Mhm.
We are putting all the money. The model is simple. It's an annuity, and if we sell water, then we will be sharing the revenue with the corporation. So at the end of 30 years, it's a 30 years contract.
You
The
get paid per
corporation-
liter of.
No, there is a capex and opex grant. That was the basis
Sure.
of NPV. That was how it was bid. 16 bidders were there. I mean, if you say the interest, 8 bidders bid for that. There were 16 bidders in the race for that. All the companies were. And the bidding was on the NPV basis of capex plus opex on annuity basis. And if we sell water, then the sharing, that is the upside for us. And for corporation, their plant cost as well as O&M cost is free in 30 years.
Then
And we have thermal power stations around, so
you can sell.
we can sell.
because
So
they use
going
grey
back
water.
to the question, if Bombay has to do it,
Mm.
and Bombay is cash rich now,
Yeah,
more or less,
yeah,
balance sheet is-
Mm.
what's stopping them from that? It's
You see-
my assessment is going by your numbers. We are talking about a per capita investment of 1,500 rupees.
No. The per capita investment, if you want to really set the system right, is what you said is 14 to 15,000.
No, but that is for switchover
Switch over.
per household.
Yeah.
But on a typical per capita project cost
Mm.
like yours,
Mm.
500 crores, plus not quantifying the legacy investments which went in,
Mm.
but as a
Mm.
top-up investment for
Mm.
switchover from
Mm.
intermittent to continuous. 27 lakhs, 500 crores.
No, there is a gap here. One is that this will be highly subjective depending on what type of the quality of the network that you are inheriting.
Exactly.
Second, we are replacing only 25%. We
Correct.
have
I agree. We're not
2,500
replacing-
kilometers of
Correct.
pipeline.
Correct.
We are replacing only 500 kilometers. So we will be facing these challenges of, you know, taking the NRW, the technical losses, in the time to come.
Correct.
But there is also a provision in the contract that we can, you know, revisit the scope,
Fine.
because we have to begin somewhere. So if we calculate 500 crores to 27 lakhs, probably no, because it is only 25%.
Agree. This
If
is
you
a-
see the Karnataka,
Hmm.
they are replacing
No,
100%.
but wo to, that is
Perfect model.
That is a,
No-
it
no-
is
no
like
technical
a greenfield
losses.
smart city type. You know, that's a different extreme case. But by and large, if you say 13,000, 14,000 per connection at a household level, it's still about divided by 5.
Yeah.
So it's about 3,000 rupees or 2,500 rupees. So why a city like Hyderabad or Bangalore or Mumbai can't think about it?
Actually, they should. I mean, and in
If
Mumbai
if
particularly.
a Kaveri scheme
Hmm.
is costing about 4,000 crores, or even now the new Godavari is about 3,500 crores. Makes so much sense to reverse the whole investment instead of going for a 150 kilometers. The marginal cost of
Yeah,
fetching
yeah.
water is going to be so high.
You know, it's a
The
no-brainer.
question maybe can be different, to make addition. What, according to your experience, what is a indicator we have to take into account to build this model? Can we extrapolate exactly per capita, the cost per capita, or do you have the kilometer of pipe compared to the density of population? Because to give water to a city who is like this will be not the same cost that city is like this. What is a indicator, according to your experience, who can be very accurate to build the model or to replicate the model somewhere else? No?
No, yeah.
In the
I
sense-
think
You take one indicator, but
No,
it cannot be only
my
one.
sense is whether it is 500 crores or even say 800 crores.
Yes.
You know, right now the replacement is about 25% of the current asset, the pipelines. Nagpur is very conservative in the
Mhm.
sense they are replacing only part of the asset.
Mhm.
Let's assume 50% of the asset gets replaced because we have old legacy,
Mhm.
bad network.
Mhm.
Say let's say project is about 800 crores. Still, for a city which is of, which is at growth path, is still small.
No, I agree with you. I will answer it like this. You know, if you take the numbers, you know, and in many cities, like they are bringing water from such long distances, that it is eminently important, I mean, makes sense for them to invest and save the water, which they have brought from, you know, hundreds of miles.
I cannot see you, so.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Number-wise, it will be very cost-effective and you know, a perfect thing. But these decisions are not based on economics. These are purely political decisions.
That's the point.
One, two, that we have not seen these models yet successful. Once we have these 3-4 models which are successful, then many more cities will have the courage to follow it. Right now, you know, except Nagpur, I mean, like we have more, like the UD secretary in Maharashtra said, ki, you know, like there are more not so successful models than a successful model. So the leadership hesitates to get into a situation which is like a day-to-day situation, a messy affair. Then they feel that the meters will probably give them, they have to pay more money. First thing, paying money for water, you know, in complete sense is a question. And we do have a segment where we need to be inclusive. And in Nagpur also, we have kept the minimum lifeline water supply at the minimum levels. We have not touched it at all. So it's 5 rupees per unit, same remains. Only we have added telescopic tariff. So if you are using more, you pay more. And the metering helps it.
Look at water bills,
All I'm
electric
saying,
bills.
sir, is
Mhm.
look at Bangalore.
Mm.
It's $1 plus
Yeah.
per unit for, I mean, it's ridiculously expensive
For what? $1 plus?
So we are paying more
per
for
cubic
water.
meter.
Okay.
So it's like 65 rupees, and they're paying for another revision for commercial applications. Whereas recycling can get them
Much cheaper.
maybe 14, maybe 18 rupees.
Because
20, 22 rupees
22
Harshadi,
rupees.
you have done
It is
22
1/3
rupees.
of the commercial tariff right now, which is prevalent in Bangalore. So, why these decisions? I think what needs to be done is to think through why these decisions, which are pure economic, commercially viable, do not get implemented in India.
Risk sharing and
sorry
revenue
to jump in
security.
here, but we are actually implementing it now, facility in Bangalore.
Correct. But
So
I'm saying
our cost will be even lower than 20 rupees.
could be lower.
It can be, yeah.
Because
So-
water is like gold in Bangalore.
Correct. So having said that, this is on the recycling side because it's much easier to deal with. On the water side, when they are going for Kaveri 3, which is more than 100 kilometers,
That's where the cost has come up.
that's when, and each cubic meter pumping cost is going to be ridiculously expensive from power sector.
Power.
Yeah, yeah, power is becoming so expensive
so at
every
another
day.
level, this is the direct consequence of having your airport in north of Bangalore, when you could have had it between Bangalore and Mysore. And the pumping cost would have been far less because it's coming all the way from Kaveri. And we know why that happened. So it's all about the politics. When someone had land in North Bangalore, someone had land in South Bangalore, so the airport went to North Bangalore. Which is why Bangalore, the water cost is